Coming up this week, we've got a special episode on Superstition because it's podcast number 13. We talk about star signs in the horoscope, racism in the BBC, ghosts and God, Benford's Law and Connected, the Netflix series, atomic bombs, art and cancer, witches, magpies, OCD, werewolves and vampires, aliens and ghosts, science, flat earth, pumpkin heads and scissor hands bots, Mystic Meg, King, Sigourney Weaver, and that was just a short summary of the next hour and a half or whatever it's going to be. So thanks very much for listening and enjoy. Let's go.
Smell you. Welcome to episode 13 of the Carbon Copy COVID Curer podcast, which will contain bad language. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple. You can subscribe on Apple and you can follow us on Spotify. We're trying to do this show every week through lockdown. We're a wedding band from central Scotland. My name is Martin, I play guitar in the band Carbon Copy. I'm joined by our lead singer, David Swan. What the fuck's happening, people?
We've got our bass player, Mark Caulfield. Good evening, good morning and good night. And our drummer, Neil McDougall.
Aye.
So we've usually got a guest, but we've failed miserably in our quest to get a guest this week. So it's just us, unfortunately, for the listener. I'm looking forward to it.
You're the only one.
So this week, as it's number 13, it's going to be a episode all about superstition and ghosts and spooky stuff. All that kind of general spooky nonsense. So usually we'd ask our guest this question, but we don't have a guest, so I'll just ask it to everybody in the band. And I actually think this is a question that a lot of our fans are probably dying to hear. And the question is, based on our always superstition theme, what is your star sign? And I'll ask that to our bass player, Mark Caulfield. Aquarius. Jumping about in the water and that. The water boy. Aquarius. Don't know what it means. Do you know anything about it? No. Nah, I know it's the water guy. Kicks about with a pail of water. It's
that's our Wally.
Our Spanky. Are you sure it's a pail of water? Oh, it's just the water based, isn't he? He's basically Aquaman.
It's not a guy. No, a guy.
Well, it is.
Star signs. No, it's no star signs. Are no.
You usually have a picture of a what? Aye, it's a guy with water. It is in the buff.
In the buff, but
Aquarius.
I can believe.
What's your birthday again? 25th of January. 25th of January.
I can see two fish, a goat, a guy with he's half man, half horse, a scorpion, scales.
That's for
a lion,
doing all the signs.
Another scorpion, no guy naked with a pail. Oh, I can see a guy.
With a pail of water.
He's not naked.
Aquarius.
He's not naked. I've never paid attention to this shit.
No, I've heard the name Aquarius. I mean, it's one of the more popular ones you hear, but I never knew it was a guy with a pail of water or that. Yeah, the water boy. The water boy, basically. That's me. Guy with water. What if I was to tell you that you're not actually Aquarius? Oh, aye, because it's all changed. It's all changed, aye. Have you heard of this thing? Aye, I was in the news and that. How do you say it? I think it's Ophiuchus, is that right? Or Ophiuchus. There's, instead of 12 star signs, they've discovered that there's actually 13. So basically,
they discovered this, did they?
Aye, so the science is flawed slightly.
There's a science. Scissor. Right, okay. This stuff just reminds me of that fat twat with the stupid jumpers. Are so fucking. What's his name?
I know who you mean, aye.
Fat twat. Stupid jumpers.
Pat Twarp?
No, fat twat.
Alright.
Pat Twarp. That's him. Pat Twarp.
Pat Sharp. No, the guy.
Rolf Hallis.
Russell. What's his name, guys?
I know who you mean. I want to say Russell Brand, but I know it definitely
that
isn't.
keeps coming into my head as
It's
well.
Russell, but he used to be the Russell until Russell Brand, because there was never any other Russell. It was him.
GMTV every day, wasn't he? Telling all the
Aye.
housewives and all that.
Aye.
That they're going to have a great day. What a lot of shite. It's back to that stuff we were talking about with people speaking to dead people and all that. That's
What's his name? Russell Grant. Is that his
Russell
name?
Grant, fat Russell Grant. Absolutely.
I don't remember him at all.
Oh my god, he was on every
Russell.
day.
Poor Russell getting fat shamed in the podcast.
Fat useless bastard. That stuff that he talks about, but it was so generic. It was unbelievable. It would honestly.
It's so generic.
I actually one day listened to it when I was on the brew back in the day when you watch that turd on telly, and I could have been every single one of them. I could have been every single one of them. You know what I mean? I could have. It was absolutely tripe.
Just
That
applies
is
to
the-
anybody, doesn't
That's
it?
the secret, aye. What is your star sign, Swanee? You know?
Fuck knows. Don't know. Capricorn it was, but it's changed, hasn't it? To whatever.
Christmas Eve, your birthday is. So you're a Sagittarius.
I'm a Sagittarius now. What
You're
does
a
that mean then?
Sagittarius.
What does that
I
mean
don't know.
going
I-
from a
I
Capricorn to a Sagittarius?
I should have really.
Should
There's
I?
probably some very generic that you could find a meaning in either.
Actually, I've got this up because I technically was a Sagittarius, but because my birthday's on the 21st of December, I was on the cusp. You're called like on the cusp because between Sagittarius and what was it, Capricorn, and apparently you're meant to have more mystical powers and stuff if you're born on that. But now it's obviously changed because it's 13, so who knows what I'm now.
I'll tell you right now, Neil. What's your birthday?
21st of December.
21st of December.
Shortest day
You're
of the year.
also you're a new Sagittarius.
You're a Sag,
A new Sagittarius.
New Sagittarius.
Is that like? Is that not? What was it? A goat thing or something? No,
I don't know.
what do you call them?
Is it the guy with the fork? Is it
Is it not the guy with the bow with the horse
Aye, I
legs?
see that one. Aye, he's half
The
horse, half.
half-
That just proves it's a pile of shite, doesn't it? So one day you can be this, the next day you could be that. See the fact that they fucking changed it.
Yeah, does
Just
that mean that
means-
every single sign that was read from the past since year zero, everyone's completely fucked it?
Exactly. We'll just move you a bit.
The weird part is if I would have went back and read the other sign, it would still mean a lot to them. Because it would still just be the same old shite, innit, you know?
Oh, that's why I'm in a sane asylum. Oh, I was the wrong star sign. Now I can be a better person because I know I'm not a Sagittarius anymore.
That's how much of a pile of manure that stuff is.
But apparently they never changed it because it's too much hassle. So they've just left it as... Because I thought this was a new thing when I first heard it, but apparently it's quite old and they've known this for years, but they've just been like that, you know what, it's not worth the hassle. Just leave it.
I've seen some folk online were quite upset about it.
When you say new Sagittarius, does that mean the new one is just called new Sagittarius, or is the 13th got a name yet?
Aye, the 13th one is called Ophiuchus.
Oh, right. And when does that come after Sagittarius then?
That's before it.
Oh, right, okay.
But it says it's not part of the zodiac. That's November the 30th to December the 17th. I don't know what the sign is for it or what it means. Or
it means fuck all, Merv. It means absolutely fuck all.
I would quite like to be that Ophiuchus because it's there's something
it's trendy.
about it.
It's like Facebook. It's the new social media platform, that's what it is.
I'm sure a lot of listeners have been wondering this for a while, and probably a lot of people can make a lot of sense about us now, hearing what our star signs are.
Definitely.
Can match it up to our personality traits and stuff.
Do you get like a reading? Is it like once a week or something like that to do it? So once a week your horoscope comes out, is that right?
What's
How
that?
do you fucking get your
magazine, the TV Times and that?
Aye, TV Times, aye.
I used to be. I remember my gran used to have that. Was in it. I don't know. Is that every day you get that?
Every day, it says here.
Is Mystic Meg not about? No.
Aye, Mystic Meg mind her.
She was on the lottery, was she not, at the lottery show?
Aye,
she was a lottery
she was
person.
Scary, man. Me and Neil are Sagittarius, aren't we? Your ambitions take you forward in life, but have you ever stopped to think about what or who they may be forced you to leave behind? Take some time today to remember the people, places and the things that you miss. It won't be unpleasant, You'll love reminiscing about the past, and you'll get a fresh new perspective on where your life is now. If you feel the urge to visit those long lost places or people, put a plan together to do just that. Suck my finger. What
I think you missed your
lot.
calling there, Swanee. I think you could be a reader of this.
That doesn't even tell me about my future. It tells me about my past. Doesn't it? It says, well, it tells me about my present. So, in fact, it tells me fuck all.
Doesn't say, no,
It tells me fuck all. No, I mean, it's
it just says, think about what you had for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to think about what day it is, the week, think about the weather, apply it to your past. It's just any old shit.
Right, so, what are you, Spanko?
Aquarius.
Like Aquaman.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Capricorn, actually.
I'm a Capricorn now.
You're a Capricorn.
Oh, is he?
aye.
Right, hold on. I used to be Capricorn, Spanks. They were cool. Cool cats, eh, guys?
No anymore.
No, they're shite now, mate. We've invaded the Capricorn
So I'm Capricorn now. I'm a. Who's,
Aye,
is
you-
that? Which that's no. Which sign? What's the kind of image for the Capricorn?
Sounds like something you would get from a swamp covered in Capricorns.
I don't know
Is
the
that a
sign,
goat?
mate.
I feel as
Aye,
if
go.
That would be
Goat.
fitting. That would be fitting.
So
Yes.
now, I've gone from the water boy to the goat.
So Spanko, as an Aquarius, sorry, a newly born Capricorn, be happy, not annoyed. If a few people reach out for some assistance,
Right.
you should be only too glad to help the people who have helped you so much in the past.
Yes.
And aren't you flattered that they think you have what it takes to make their life better?
Mm.
There are many erratic energies humming around you right now.
I'm protected by the bubble, so it's okay.
Aye. It's certainly some humming stuff run about you quite a lot.
I thought this was meant to be bullshit.
Well, no, it's true. And you seem to be the only person who has the antidote. Oh, Spanko's got the cure to the virus. You have a calmness about you that people love to feed off of. Share it generously. Mark, today you will speak to David Swan and you. Nah, it's a bunch of shite.
Aye, it's rotten.
Spanko, you need to go in and get your Aquarius tattoo covered up.
What one's yours, Murph?
I used to be Taurus, but I'm now Aries, which is the goat I'm looking up here. That's actually the goat, which it seems
Oh.
like every one of them is the goat, but I
Aries,
think
There's a few
Aries
goats
is the goat.
in the star signs, is there?
It's a bit harsh.
Aye, what's with the goats, people? Why goats?
Aye, that seems to be the proper goat.
Well, the goat is the devil, I believe.
Oh,
I believe the goat is the
sign of
devil.
the sign of the big man.
Another real,
downstairs.
The big man.
The big man
the big man.
downstairs.
Aye, another real thing. Any disappointing news you get today really isn't going to be bad news at all, and it won't cause a real problem for you. The person telling you the news thinks things are different than they really are, so they'll be happy when you set their mind at ease. All in all, you can expect today to be neither totally fun nor utterly frustrating.
I mean, it's
It feels as if I'm on the edge. I feel as if
It says it could be a kind of a grey day where nothing is going to get finalised, like every fucking day in life, but nothing can really get started either. Away and fling shite at Pluto.
Which does not planet anymore, is it not?
Aye, that's bullshit, isn't it? Utter garbage. I hate all that stuff. I hate how people get invested in it as well. I really do. What you doing? What you doing with yourself?
it's like, I know, it's like, but people don't need it, but some people
they
want
need shite.
shite. People want
Are you
things to
saying
mean
they
something.
read it or need it?
They need shite. They just need shite to fill.
It's you that need shite.
No, I need a shite. That's different.
If the yours would have been better if it said the shite will be flying from you all day today, and you will be fucking humming.
I guess as though this is what we were talking about. Remember, I can't remember which episode we were talking about it, but how if someone's looking for it, it was when we were talking about like the Dan Browns and all that, and
Aye,
when
they
someone's
see it.
actually looking for it,
Yeah.
they'll see it. So if someone says something and they're needing it or looking for it at that point of time, they'll accept it. That's exactly what they want. So they'll
those words are just so nicely placed that you could just, it could be sunny, but it could be rainy.
I know that's
It's
it.
just-
It's
it's just
basically
there, it's like-
It's literally Kenny Dalglish that writes these. Maybe I, maybe no. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Literally, that's what it is.
open-ended. Yeah.
Bullshit. Horse shit manure. Any's heard about Benford's Law?
Oh,
No, I've never.
no.
Any's watched
mention
the
it.
docu-series on Netflix called Connected? It's a guy that looks like, who's that guy at the IT crowd? Richard Umbawawaji, or whatever his name is. That's terrible.
Richard,
I don't know
We'll
his
just
name.
do what the BBC did. and send an
Ayawade. Richard
apology.
Ayawade.
Ayawade. Sorry, Neil, what were you saying, mate?
I was saying we can just send an apology like the BBC did last night for
What
saying
have they been up to?
What did he do this time?
I was something about the N word and they reported it or didn't report it or something like that, and then it was a big hoo-ha mess, and they had to do an open-air apology on the news last night, saying that they apologised for whatever it was. I don't even know what it was because
There was
An
a
N-bomb?
guy got a racial attack. It was a car drove into him several times with really bad injuries. There was a news story about it, like a main story, and the guy was getting interviewed in that, and he was saying stuff, and then in their description at the BBC they described the things that the attacker said, which was some quite racist words, including the N-word, but I think they might have actually said the full sentence, including the word, and that's what the problem was. And one of the DJs off the One Extra resigned about it, and there was thousands of complaints, but the BBC said that it was the family had requested it.
Oh, really?
For them to say it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's the family aren't the broadcaster, so the broadcaster's the person. Fair enough, if the family want to leave something out of it, you would say, right, aye, okay, listen to the family, but if the family want to put something in, and the broadcaster should ultimately be the one that's saying, oh, that's...
I don't agree with that. Having
The
an
victim's
apology.
family, aye.
The victim's
Offender family was adamant that word would stay in. Of course they were. I don't agree that they should apologise for that though, even if the family didn't want that, because that's not, you're just repeating something that somebody had done. Do you know what I mean? This is where we're maybe losing all this, and this is where, you know, the PC brigade gets that inverted commas stuff nowadays, because it's like you can't be offended with repeating something somebody else has said.
Well, the only thing with that, if the guy had said, "You fucking cunt," or whatever, there's no way the BBC would have said that.
Aye, exactly. And even if the family said, "Can you make sure you say cunt in this?" they're going to say, "No, it's not appropriate." So, I suppose, yeah, that's a fair point, Melv. Aye,
You
got him there. You got him there.
No, I'm not arguing it. I'm just saying that I
know.
think in this circumstance it's a bit over the top to say it shouldn't be used there, you know, because I think it should be, because you should, for good purposes, you know, look at what some people actually fucking go to. You know, this is what this person thinks and believes. There is people like this clown out there. So this is, you know, maybe even the shock factor for the middle Britain people who are just sitting thinking it doesn't happen, then seeing it on the BBC and hearing it on the BBC that somebody out there just said that, gets them to think, oh fuck, it is out there, you know. So there's an element of balance there with it, and there's an element of, should you use that in no circumstances, or should you use it for good?
If that's the case, then the BBC should be saying putting cunt as well, but I don't think they would. I think they'd be more offended by the C word than the N word.
I think they probably would, yeah. I think you're probably right.
Well, that's not right. That isn't
no,
right.
it's not, but that's where we are, isn't
Aye.
it? You know?
Aye.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Do you believe?
Ghosts after ghosts.
we could actually do that, and Spankle, sing it and then put some real bad autotune on you.
Oh, fucking hell, man.
Yeah. No, don't you put live autotune on.
That quick.
The autotune, that'll sound
Who do
great.
you want to answer that first, Neil?
You, actually.
Oh, no, I do not. I categorically do not believe in ghosts.
I thought you were going to say, no, I categorically will not answer that question.
I'd like to bring to light
Under any
I'd like to bring to light your dream of your of your bed sheet coming towards you, and that was definitely not. Did you not
Aye,
even
but
think
that was a dream.
1 second that could have been something paranormal?
Yes, yeah, of course. But I was, I was jet lagged and sleepy, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Do you know what I mean? So, and if you do believe that that's real at the time while you're dreaming, then you're like, "What the fuck is that?" Because can it possibly be a ghost? No, I don't believe in ghosts. utter tripe. No,
So
I don't believe in ghosts.
your duvet blew up. Am I right in saying that? This is what happened.
I had
Just a big fart.
sleep paralysis caused partially or maybe largely by long travelling and what's it called, jet lag. And I thought I'd woken up in the bed and that something had the bottom of my sheet had a person standing under it with the sheet over it, and that was coming towards me.
Right. Actually hallucinated then. Full on
Well,
hallucinated.
it's a dream. It's a dream that you.
Aye.
Or isn't, or kind of isn't a dream kind of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's
You dream that that I woke up in exactly the actual bed I was in,
Aye.
and that had happened. It was quite freaky. But I don't believe in ghosts at all. It's horse shit.
All right, Merv, do you?
I don't believe in ghosts. Nah. I think there is a lot of this, but the human imagination, stroke mind, does create a lot of things, and a lot of things seem really real. And in fact, I suppose it's quite hard to tell what's real and what's not in some circumstances, depending on your situation. So I can totally see why people believe it. But I was just thinking there, the Holy Ghost. That's like quite a famous ghost. And it's really well A-list ghost, and a lot of people really believe in it. You know,
The Holy Ghost is
people
a
do
strange thing. What is it? It's like is it between? Isn't he quite God, but isn't he quite Jesus? It's like something in the middle.
Oh my
What is
god!
that?
You were an altar boy. You were 23.
Can't mind, man.
How can you?
23.
You
Part
can't.
of the
I
Trinity.
was just there for the cocks, wasn't it?
the Holy
23.
And you didn't see ghosts? Holy shit.
So the Holy Ghost. Think of all the respectable people that live their lives totally respectable and totally sensible and wise, and then
Now, if you're going down the road of the Holy Ghost and spiritual stuff, then that can just be described in all different types of elements, and that's just, as we've spoke about, well, my belief is that's just energy and stuff going about and universe and all that jazz. It's no ghost, but people want to put specific names and labels and shrines and stuff to everything. That's just a human being way of doing things. But I watched the other week, last weekend, Poltergeist. You've seen
Very
that?
good.
Never
Is it 80s or 90s?
Was it 82? It was made. It was Spielberg that made that. Did you know that?
Spielberg, is it?
Aye, Spielberg.
No.
It is horrendous. But watch it. Some of the special effects, you need to always remember it was back in 82. But the special effects are so bad they're funny. Really are.
it's a weird thing with the ghosts and that. I would categorically say that I don't believe in ghosts in any way, shape or form in any sort of situation ever, but I would never watch that kind of stuff with Poltergeist and that, because
Merv, it's
I'd absolutely be
hilarious.
shitting myself. You know what I mean?
You'll not be shitting yourself watching this, mate. No. Maybe back in the day, but no. It's hilarious. There's a bit where a guy goes to a mirror and he's like touching his face, and it's almost as if the poltergeist has took over the mirror. So when it cuts back to the reflection of him, they've made just a plasticine head. Like it looks nothing like this guy, and the eyeballs are all hanging out, and he like starts to claw his face, and they're like clawing off this plasticine. It is the most laughable thing you have ever
It's
seen in your life.
not dated well then, mate.
No, not for that stuff. See at the end where the house all disappears underground, that's amazing for 82. And that's when I went, who the fuck done this? And it was Spielberg.
Didn't realise that.
Aye, neither did I. Never knew that. But the rest of it is some of the stuff with the mum acting, about the daughter being missing in the walls of the house is a wee bit, fucking hell. Imagine that was your Wayne and all that. But
So some of the acting was scary, the scariest part.
well, a bit overacted, to be honest. But it's that way when just somebody shrieking and all that kind of stuff gets you a bit scared and the heart rate going up. That was probably more scary than any of the effects or anything like that.
What about you, Neil? You a ghost man?
Absolutely.
Are you?
No. well. Let me maybe can I have a wee balance bit, because
Okay.
I'm kind of like no, No, but you know how when I'm the thing I do believe in is that if something is thinkable, it's probable, which means it's quite possible. Not like if something didn't exist, absolutely not exist, then I don't think imagination can think of it, because I honestly don't think you just create imagination. I think it's sort of fed in.
Very interesting.
Aye.
Very interesting.
It's either,
could you create a colour that doesn't exist?
You know what I mean? Because you literally, from birth, you are literally an input machine. Everything you take in. You never create it yourself. Although we think we are creative beings. We're not really. We're just sort of regurgitating outside influence. There's not one thing that we can actually create from nothing. Yeah. So there's got to be something, maybe, but something definitely. I mean, it's in the minds of half the populace. It's like it's not even some people think believe it's fucking like. I mean, it's everywhere. So there's got to be some truth somewhere. But I can't. I don't think I would say, oh, there's a ghost in my cupboard. Or if even someone said that, I'd be like, no, you're either on drugs or whatever. From my experience, I suppose.
See how I spoke about earlier about, I believe that the Holy Ghost is an example, right? That if somebody feels, right, I felt the Holy Ghost, that's like a spiritual awakening or whatever they call it. But in my belief, that's just like energy and stuff happening in the universe. And like Neil says, I kind of believe that as well. If there's, if you can think it, then it can be there. You can imagine something, then there must be some element of truth to it. Do you know what I mean?
I think for me is like, I mean, I could actually believe aliens just because to me, I mean, my understanding of aliens before when I was a kid was whatever I watched, like E.T. So my understanding of aliens, but an alien technically is just something else on another planet. It's not really, it's not just a green Martian, it's out to take over the world or whatever. So stuff like that. But to imagine that, I don't know. I think it's easy for me to imagine it. I can imagine ghosts, therefore there might be something of some ilk, whether it's just an imagination, but to even think of imagination, something has to be there. Something.
Well, a lot of people have these experiences, and I mean, nobody knows any of this stuff for sure. Really, you can obviously only have your own opinion and base it on what you believe, But I suppose it's a lot for grabs ultimately. Yeah, really. Anyway.
So as much as ghosts is one thing, paranormal and all that, but I believe definitely in that there's a spiritual plane and physical plane and all that. I could definitely believe that easy enough.
So
a fourth dimension.
I definitely. I'm not too sure about dimensions and stuff like that. That kind of goes over my head, but that whole like doppelganger stuff. Did you ever see that? What's that program? The Fringe. Did you ever watch that?
No, I don't think so. No.
TV Fringe. It was amazing, but it was all about like different dimensions and your doppelganger finding you and all that. And if you take him out in one, you literally go to boot two of them. It was mental. It was mad. It was all fringe science. It was all about like science on the fringe of where it's at and stuff. It was really cool. I enjoyed it.
See that energy thing that I was talking about, and what you're talking about, the hidden science. There's a lot of that, which leads me nicely into it, mind you. Actually, like the Benford's Law, that thing that I seen, that Connected docu-series. That is spirituality for me. That's like real life kind of ghosts and spirituality. Because how can you explain that?
Can you tell us what it is then, man? Because I don't know what it is.
It's really hard to go into. If you watch the episode, it's
tell us it in one word.
Ghosts.
I'll try and I'll do it in layman's terms.
Benford's Law, do it in layman's terms.
I'll try and do it in layman's terms, right? But it needs to. Well, this is the way I understand it. I'm probably completely wrong. If you take any data set, and it's got to be a random data set of numbers, so anything from, say, for example, tax, income tax, how many football players were injured, last year, how, demographic data, mathematical data, all that kind of stuff. Know anything that's been assigned, so anything that's like assigned, like, postcodes or telephone numbers or NI numbers, they're all assigned there. There's human intervention there that assigns them. Anything that's like random data sets of numbers, if you take any of them in the world, in the universe, anything, how many planets, and
what caused by nature, you mean?
Well, just a random set, just by nature. So see your tax return for this year. We've got loads of incomings and we've got loads of outgoings. and we've got loads of, in-betweens and stuff. So if you take all those numbers and you put them into a spreadsheet, well, speaking your terms, Spanko, right? So if I put them into a spreadsheet,
Right.
And you list every single one of those numbers, and then you do a sort on the first digit, and you go, right, okay, I want it to be smallest to largest. If you do that with any data set of numbers, then 30% of these numbers will start with a 1, 17% will start with a 2, and it will go in a curve, like a fucking virus curve, all the way down to 9. So it's always got 30%, approximately 30% of smallest digit, which is 1, and then it goes down in like a curve, down the way, sloping if you think like a ski slope.
Okay.
So if you, and the documentary, the episode is based on how HMRC and places, the Federal Reserve use this. They actually use it. They don't admit to it, but they use this as to spot anomalies in tax returns. It's actually used hugely in fraud. It's massively used in fraud. Oh, hugely, because if you say there was an example on it, right? So this woman used it to find thousands and thousands and thousands of Russian bots on Twitter, because I don't know where the data set came from, the numbers came from. It must have been the code or whatever of each account. But she took each account and she put Benford's law to it, and any normal, natural occurring account was just the curve perfectly, 30% ones to 17%. But the ones that had any interference with it and unnatural interference with it, bots, for example, she was able to pinpoint every single one of them. Because Benford's law was not there. It was not there.
Is it anything to do with the Fibonacci sequence? And the
never heard of that, mate. And that doesn't mention that, does it?
The Fibonacci sequence is like a sequence of numbers that's present in art and nature as well.
Well, they spoke about that.
Oh, the golden rule.
Golden sector, aye.
They spoke a wee bit about that, I'm sure, in it. But it says on it as well, the best way to convince yourself that it works is to pick up a book, random magazine, list and sort all the numbers, and then about 30% of the numbers will be collected from any book or any magazine. We'll start with number 1, and then it will just go down in a curve.
It's a bit like the sort of question trick things that you get, and people say, right, what's your age? Divided by the first letter of the alphabet with your name or whatever, blah blah, take away 17, add 46, and then it always ends up being like 10 or whatever.
Well, that's more to that's more to do with formulas, isn't it? That's more to do with working out how you can do that with anything. But this is a natural phenomenon that science can't explain yet. Science can't explain what, and it's like in everything. Every single part of the universe, even like the NASA stuff that they've looked at, planets data, it's in that. They don't know why this, and that's where I think there's like one universal law, and this is where your ghosts and all that stuff stems from. That kind of stuff.
Numbers are incredible,
digits
but
are
I think I'm sure I've seen stuff where there is flaws in numbers.
Yeah, there is, and even
like dark matter. And,
absolutely.
Chance, random possibilities. I think there's a limit to it, but it's incredible. I mean, I'm not really a numbers person, maths and that, because it goes over my head, but some of it's really interesting because it kind of gets out of the realms of maths and gets into the realms of, like, I'd want to say art, but maybe that's taking it a bit too far, but there maybe is an element of that, because
they did.
I mean, the mathematics of a wave,
that's absolutely
that
right.
exists, or like a gust of wind. It's
absolutely. And the art thing, there's another episode on nuclear.
Oh, what's it called, mate?
Connected it's called, and so one's called digits, that's the one that we spoke about there. The next one's called nuclear, right? And he talks, Minder said to his that nuclear bombs can detect fake art. Do you want to hazard a guess how that could be?
Nuclear bombs can detect
they use nuclear bombs to detect fake art. And do you know that fake art accounts for a really high percentage of...
Aye. There's loads of it. I've sometimes watched some of these art documentaries and that, and there's loads of like guys forgeries up to all sorts and make some money.
It's like tens of millions of pounds every sale as well. Denny's man to hazard a guess at it.
I don't even really know where to start, to be honest.
So they explain it like this. It's called the bomb curve testing. Right, so back in World War II, nuclear bombs start to get used the anniversary Hiroshima recently, and they actually tested a nuclear bomb after those bombs every single 9 days. The whole world, Russia, USA, for like 50 years.
That's
they tested. It's nuts, isn't it?
It's in the ocean, aye.
They tested them everywhere they could, Spanko, anywhere they could, in land, on sea, wherever they could set one off to test it. Every 9 days, approximately, they tested a nuclear bomb that ruined, indigenous populations and wrecked the seas, wrecked the oceans. Talk about carbon footprints. This is where this fucking shit comes from. Thankfully, I think it's slowed down a wee bit recently. That's what they alluded to. I don't really know too much about that. Don't want to comment on it, but specifically this. So a nuclear bomb goes off, they're doing the testing, and millions of the neutrons all fly out. They crash into the nitrogen in the air so hard that it creates carbon. So it's not just normal carbon, but it's like an unstable version of carbon that radiates a tiny wee bit, so it moves just very slightly under a microscope or whatever. And it's called radiocarbon, and they've got it, carbon copy 4. Carbon 14 is called them. And then that's kicked up into the atmosphere and it blows all over the world, and then it falls back down onto plants like cotton and flax. Cotton and flax absorb all that carbon and they actually use it to grow. It's not just a case of the plant taking it in, they use it to grow. And then cotton gets spun into canvas, flax seeds get made into oil that's used in oil paintings. The artist then put them together as a painting with the same radiocarbon that was in them when it was up in the air. And if this all happens on or after when we started testing nuclear bombs, that period of peak bomb testing, then we can put a date on them. But the interesting part of it is it's not just putting a date on it, they can actually range it between 1 and 4 years. It's like literally 3 years. That was painted on 2004. That's amazing, isn't it? And 2013, a painting supposedly by, is it Fernand Lergy? Terrible with names. Fernando Lergy or something along those lines, that was thought to be worth tens of millions of pounds, was dated to at least 4 years after his death because of the bomb curve testing.
Alright.
It was ready to go to auction and everything.
Do you have any superstitions?
I have not one superstition. Not one. No ladders, no cats,
Not one.
I don't even know very many of them, to be honest. Salt over the shoulder and all that. Nah, I've got not one superstition.
Would you break a mirror?
I've broke plenty of mirrors, but I don't even know what that superstition is. Does that mean something?
7 years bad luck.
7 years, eh?
See, I mean, folklore and all that. I love all those. Like, I love hearing stuff like that. Yeah, and I mean, being an avid computer game player, I pretty much, I probably know them all without knowing them all, because you play them and do them, and you have to go characters that are all about them. But nah, I really don't give a shit about superstitions. Superstitions are exactly what they are, just superstitions. And it does get me really angry. I don't mind superstition, but see, when it's forced upon you, like, I mean, I can't imagine living in a time where it was like burnt at the stake for that sort of thing. And I hate, like religions and all that, they just use superstitions as like a power tool. I hate all that shit. I think that's nonsense. I think it's the worst thing that I've ever, so superstition for me is sort of catching the back of your throat. It's never been a good thing. It's just been a sort of another kind of people pleaser and controller. That's what I think, anyway. Yeah, sorry.
Absolutely, mate. Fucking here. I'll cheers you virtually for that.
David, any superstitions, mate? Nah, just what he said.
I get up every morning and I kiss my crucifix. I put my purple pants on. I pray to Buddha, and then I run out the door and get hit with a bus. No superstitions, mate. No, you don't get this good looking with superstition. You just need to take it as it comes. When was the last witch burned in Scotland?
It's 1964 or something, mate.
The 80s or something.
It's always the 60s.
80s. Fucking hell. Right, everybody, don't Buchanan Street, we're going to burn this cow. 1796.
Nah,
and you've already googled it.
I've not.
1727.
Was it?
Aye.
I believe that the reason the way they decided, I could be wrong about this, you'll probably have the facts there, but they burned they put the witch in the water, and if she drowned,
floated,
she drowned, she wasn't a witch and she died,
and if she voted she was a witch and she
It's a pretty
for the life, it seems a bit unfair.
I know.
Lose, isn't it? Fucking lose.
unless you do it you're a witch, and then obviously you just grab your broomstick and use your witch powder and stuff.
Aye. And jump away like hee hee hee. Fly, my pretties, fly.
Merv, any superstitions?
Nah, I don't really know. I mean, sometimes that thing with the magpies, you can count them. I sometimes count them and say the wee thing into my head if it's like, 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, just to count them
What
up
is the wee thing?
when I'm walking the door. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for the gold, 7 for a secret never to be told.
The fuck does any of that mean?
If you see 2 magpies, 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, means you've got joy.
Right, so it's another horoscope.
Aye, it's all the shit.
Magpie scope.
What's the boy and girl thing?
I must
Be having
I
a
would
wane.
guess
surely.
maybe.
Is it having
Aye,
rains?
I would think that.
Is that what? Alright, so if you see 3 magpies, you're going to have like a boy. 3 for
If you see one, it's sorrow.
3 for a girl.
2 for joy.
4 for a boy then. So if you see 4, you're going to have a boy. That's what that's meant to mean, is it? Fuck. What was the rest of it? What was 5?
Silver.
So you'll get silver, 6 for gold, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
What was 7 and 8?
A secret never to be told. I don't know if it gets up past
What does
7.
that mean?
It might.
Oh, it keeps going. I've got to hear 7 for a secret, never to be told. 8 for a wish. 9 for a kiss. 10 for a bird you must not miss. 11 is worse. 12 for and 12 for a dastardly curse.
Fuck's
What's
sake.
11?
11 is
What was
worse.
11?
just
what
any
else?
more vague?
No,
Shit's going to get worse.
it's fairly vague to be fair. The whole thing. That is 8 for a wish,
Quite,
9 for a kiss, 10 for a bird you must not miss. 11 is worse. 12 for a dastardly curse.
See, culturally, that would mean completely different from a bird to us
Aye.
than it would to anyone else in the entire planet.
I
Yeah.
mean, Usher.
Yeah, or Usher now.
Where's my
Unless it was
magpie
spelled
there?
B-U-R-D. Aye.
Aye.
Magpies are really striking looking
Great
birds.
birds.
They're quite
Hold
boy.
on a
I
minute
know,
here.
recently.
Great bird
Quite
Spankle. So explain yourself there. What
Nice
makes the
they're nice
magpie
looking,
so
they're,
great?
they're striking and they're beautiful birds. Beautiful birds. A magpie's a beautiful bird. I'm looking at a picture of one right now. It's black and white, and it's usually got a blue bit in it. Mouth. You're right.
Aye, they've got a lot of boy. I'm only really starting to see
You
the boy.
have no mentioned
it's
the
one of
most
these
famous
things
thing magpies are famous for.
Out of a pie.
that- Saluting.
Saluting.
So
You're meant to salute magpies.
you made this so what, like a,
The magpies are in the Brits. Let's go.
do they not keep silver? Do they not keep jewellery and shit like that?
Yes.
Aye, the
Is that what you're
friendly
going to
shiny
say?
bits and bobs.
12 for a dastardly curse. So there you
Dastardly.
go.
That's a good word, dastardly.
Yeah.
Only
When was the last time you said
sick
that?
dastardly.
Dastardly, yeah. That's
The wacky races.
Yeah.
Right, last question, Spankle. What's your lucky number?
By the way, I never asked myself the question because I've see the
Ask yourself, what's
superstitions.
your
Ask
superstition?
You're
the
definitely a
question, mate.
superstitious
Is
person.
OCD counted in that? Say if somebody
No,
perhaps somebody
no.
that switches a light switch on and off
Aye,
17
I
times
think
so the
you
family
could-
doesn't
You
die.
could maybe loosely.
Do you do that?
I had a wee problem with that when I was a teenager. Yeah, I used to switch light switches off and genuflect 10 times and just for luck.
That is you being an older boy. You were 23 again. That was none of
I
the
used to
superstition.
do that and yeah, weird switch and just I'm not religious, but I would just put the sign of the cross on inanimate objects and stuff like that.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute
I
here.
had a bit of OCD.
What inanimate objects would you bless?
Just any square, like any square, just for luck. And I would count lampposts and shit like
You
that.
would go, fuck.
I was kind of calmed down a wee
Jesus
bit now.
Just calm down as it's
You used to get about counting lampposts and fucking blessing
Can't-
squares.
looking for 7 lampposts because it's for luck and all that. Aye, I had that shit. So
7
aye,
lampposts? Is that
counting
just your
the
own
sevens,
creation?
Aye,
Paul Caulfield, if you're listening to this, why did you not take this lad out to see somebody?
I never
You
spoke
could've-
about it. This is the first time I ever spoke about it. 35 in a
That's quite
podcast.
impressive, man.
I'm OCD when I was a teenager, which tries to creep in occasionally as well. And I'm like, no, don't do that. That's why I'm into spreadsheets and shit. Probably.
I would definitely say that. Yeah, that's not. That's definitely more superstition than OCD. I think OCD is just a term for what they don't like. Why someone would do something like that. It's not technically a thing. OCD is just a term for someone that does stuff like that.
Right.
Aye. If you're OCD, you might just wash your hands, wash them, but you're not saying that I'm washing my hands 17 times and then
turning upside down and washing them another time. To me, that's more like that, an impulsive thing, where what you're saying, you've really created some
weird shit.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Have you ever touched wood?
Yeah, it's all about it was an extreme. It's not to me a second there. It's an extreme version of touching wood. I be counting lampposts
Extreme wood
and
touching.
and putting the sign of the cross in any sort of square for luck.
Why squares?
Because square's a lucky shape. And it's got
Who decided
because
that?
square's got 4 sides like a cross, where you can't put a cross in a circle. Yeah, I'm fucking off my head.
Mate, you really need to sit down with somebody.
Aye.
I remember I had like twitches. Like I didn't even know I had like kind of eye twitchy things when I was younger, but I had no idea unless someone would tell me. And as soon as he started telling me, I started noticing it. It was really freaking me out. But apparently, I used to as well. Like if I scratched my left arm, I'd scratch my right arm as if like evening it up somehow. And then apparently it was all down to sexual frustration. Apparently, that's what I was told by my doctor.
Why? Why would they tell you that for a start?
Well,
how is it?
Because one of my main things, because I did a lot of fitness when I was younger, like a lot of different things. But
you're stacked, mate. You're stacked.
I didn't do any women. That sounds really bad, but I didn't have anything to do with them, like nor men either. I just had no sort of. And at the age I went to the doctor at, I'm not going to tell you what it was. I asked, and he was like, "Have you had any like occurrences with any?" I was like, "No, not at all." I mean, I literally was a late bloomer, a very late bloomer. I mean, it was very late, like it was very late. That I even thought or cared about any of that kind of stuff. And then he said, "It's probably due to sexual frustration," and I thought, all right.
That was the doctor's.
That's what the doctor said, but he said it in a sort of, this is off the record, but.
So is he saying then that because. Hold on. So you're not thinking about it as much as you should at that age is the norm. So it's these hormones are like exuding themselves in different ways.
Exactly.
Right,
exactly.
Okay.
What I was doing was I was actually suppressing the natural hormones and the testosterone stuff, but I was venting it out in like boxing or doing all that kind of stuff without any other, I don't know, way to do it. I don't really understand it.
I know what you mean.
But by keeping it down, I was stressing out my body. My whole body
definitely.
was becoming.
And you wouldn't even know you were doing that.
Nah, until it exploded all over the mirror. And
I'd done that, I know. Keep that in.
Would you rather have feet or a basketball? Would you rather have teeth or a house to call your own? Let's have a game, or would you rather? Would you rather?
That makes absolutely no sense.
Okay, Neil, would you rather be a werewolf or a vampire?
Werewolf.
He is a
fucking werewolf. Or not?
Most definitely. Yeah. After seeing all the the movies of like werewolves or lichens or whatever they're called versus vampires, the werewolves always get a little bit of the edge, but they're always treated as ironically the underdogs, and they can kind of turn back.
What's that lichen?
A lichen's basically just a werewolf. Well, in all the movies anyway, it's just another name for them.
Is that the name for a werewolf? Is it? I never knew that.
I like it.
I like things like that. That's good.
Aye. But they can turn and look normal, and I think a vampire doesn't really ever. And they can't go in the light, but a lichen can. So I think I would like that. And it must be like mental, like having a partner and stuff that's another werewolf would be like crazy sex. Apart from a vampire.
Yeah, you're making up for lost time. Stop scratching your arms.
Which is probably why I wouldn't be a vampire, because they're all cold-blooded and they don't feel anything. So,
David?
Well, vampires are a bit rapey, aren't they? Well, they fucking stalk about at night and like jump in and give you a love bite. They're always a bit rapey, vampires. So I'm gonna go werewolf. I'll just eat you all up. Werewolf for me, Spanks.
Okay, werewolf for you, Merv.
I would say werewolf as well. I think vampires, they don't eat garlic. There's that problem. Quite like garlic.
Don't like steaks either.
Nah, fuck that. I don't know if I could live without garlic or steak. So werewolf, I could
I've seen that film Teen Wolf. I think that's all really got to go on, but aye, why not? Basketball playing half human, half wolf.
Is that the one with Michael J. Fox?
Aye.
A vampire for me. They get their whole. I probably shouldn't say that after you just said they're a bit rapey, actually.
So did Ted Bundy, mate. Know what I mean? Jesus, suffering.
I think birds like vampires. I find it a bit sexy.
Americans like vampires, don't they?
I don't think birds have got any option but to like vampires, because don't they have that mad mind control thing?
Oh, do they?
So you're basically just a rapist.
That what we do in the shadows. what we do in the shadows is really funny, man. That's really cool.
It's good.
A vampire, I've got the teeth for it and everything. So, vamp.
You have got quite big incisors.
Aye, like a
Thick thumbs, thick incisors.
thick thumbs. I have sausage fingers because that's what all vampires have got.
Lady killer.
Aye.
Would you rather be abducted by aliens or haunted by ghosts? And that goes to Merv.
Abducted by aliens, just to see what it's like and what the vibe is up in the flying saucer. Haunted by ghosts, I think, would be quite. Well, I'm assuming that's a negative. I suppose you could have a positive haunting, but I think there's more chance of being abducted by aliens than there is of being haunted by ghosts, unless you end up with a sort of psychosis, which could happen. So maybe there's more chance of being haunted by ghosts in a sort of psychosis way. But if I had a choice, I would go with it. Unless it was friendly ghosts, I would take aliens, because I'm assuming that they would be. You would take your chances that they would be friendly.
Friendly ghosts.
Hopefully.
There's thinking in 1954
There's the question.
cartoons.
There's the question. What do you think's more likely to exist, actually, ghosts or aliens?
100% aliens, surely.
I believe that too. Yep.
Yeah, I would say so.
I'd rather be abducted by aliens, alien ghosts. Ghosts of aliens.
How would you wouldn't know the difference, though?
How?
Unless they said, oh, by the way, David, we aren't just normal aliens, we're ghost aliens.
They're wearing bed sheets.
Aye, exactly.
Fucking hell, I thought there was something funny about you cunts. Neil, I bet you've got a good answer for that one.
Well, nah, aliens probably, because we've already kind of covered ghosts that we don't believe them, so it's going to have to be aliens for me.
What's your thoughts on aliens, Neil? I feel like I'd like to.
Aliens?
I thought you might have some good.
I reckon if there's a planet, there's life, and if there's life, there's definitely, well, to us aliens, but it's just going to be other people. I reckon in every planet there's people, and I think as much as we think we can only see and we've sent out droids and shit, if someone sent a droid here that looked from another planet, we'd fucking stamp on it, or we'd put it in a cardboard box with mirrors in it so it would look like it was. I think there's definitely people on other planets. Absolutely.
People, humans?
1,000,000%. Aye.
Homo sapiens?
I think every single
So
planet
most
has
logical,
got humans on every single planet.
You think
Absolutely.
so?
Wow, that's a new thing
Yeah,
for
that's
me.
a bold statement, mate. That's a bold
Well,
statement.
do you know why I think though? I
Right.
think that because, well, on each planet is the same. It's got the same makeup. So, like every star is a sun, as far as we understand. There are suns, and they revolve around each planets, and each planet is in a system, and blah blah blah, and it gets bigger in the galaxy, blah blah. But all these are there because I'm not a believer in, like, if a Big Bang happened and then we're the only one tiny planet with life and the rest is sort of vague. That can't be. It just can't be. I mean, if you're gonna have a Big Bang that is like chance, then there's definitely going to be more chance that there's on every single planet life had done the exact same thing and grew the same way and then developed the same way and fucking all that stuff. So there has to be, absolutely, 1,000,000%.
Aye, interesting way to look at it, and probably when you think about it, quite plausible. And I think that's happened in the Earth in a lot of ways. Two different places, the same things created itself organically, different creatures, maybe fish or whatever, I don't know. I'd need to get fact checked, but I get the feeling that that's something that it does happen anyway, so there's no reason to suggest that it wouldn't happen. But what happens if it's like in a bigger scale or a smaller scale, so it's actual like giant people?
Could be, yeah, absolutely.
Next to a giant sun.
Well, they say that
They used to have been small.
It's like the different atmospheres now, as far as we understand, and what because remember we're only like theoretically looking through a telescope and guessing that what we see as clouds or fucking vapours of gas are actually, we haven't been there, we haven't fucking taken a sample. We've sent like robots to like just the moon and just Mars. I mean, that's like, you know what I mean? It's just.
You said every planet though, so with the hiding when we were on the moon.
Absolutely, every single planet.
Even in our solar system, like Mars and that?
Aye, absolutely, all of them.
The moon,
because imagine we've sent one rover, right, to Mars. If they, say, for example, the exact same as us, and sent a rover to the desert, they think no one would live there. They think no one would be there. Just be like, there's life here. But there's like little creatures, but they've not seen one.
It's only a small fraction.
You know what I mean?
Planet.
I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I think it's easy.
Well, I think there's a certain sort of arrogance that goes with science, and you hear a lot of these guys, and they talk so surely about this happened and that happened, and dinosaurs looked exactly like this because I can tell by their bones. I mean, how do they really know?
Exactly.
How do they really know that? Even and definitely, it's just they're looking into the past. They're looking into telescopes. There's an authority with science though, that somebody can just come up and say, right, this is definitely what happened, and this is definitely what it is. Whereas somebody says that about Capricorn or that, and people are like that. Aye, right.
But science is proven
behind it,
because it's
There's
proven
no
like
evidence.
fact.
It's proven so far. I think that's kind of what we're getting at there. I think it's a big.
There's theories,
it's one
man.
thing to say.
The difference is theories.
It's one thing to say there's 9 planets in the solar system. That's one thing, and to jump from that and say, right, so many million light years away, there's a planet that's got water, and you're like that, right? Okay, I understand there is science side. It obviously gets them at that point, but I mean, it's still a bit of a leap of faith. There's a lot of faith in science.
Yeah, you know that science is a fact to a scientist is just something until otherwise proven. It's not. They don't go. A fact is
That's
that
right.
is it, and then the whole of life is on it.
That's
So it's
right.
just until the next
Yes.
bit. So for us to say that something is fact and then debate on it is sort of like say, it's not really a thing for debate. It should just be
Definitely. But
until the next.
The moon, the moon thing. Then, so we're saying if there's aliens on the moon, they were just hiding on the other side while the boys were stoating about up there.
Who knows? I have no idea. But well, to be fair, the moon is a bit of a different thing because it's not like a planet like other planets are. As far as
It's
I
a moon.
as far I know, right. See,
this is how much.
It's a rock. It's a
rock.
It's a different thing. It's got no atmosphere.
You're talking about planets with atmosphere, is that what you mean?
Aye.
Some of the moons of the places in the solar system, I forget the names of them, but a couple of I think Titan's one of them. I don't know what planet it is. Jupiter, let's just say.
Titan's a fake Mars bar out of Aldi's.
They're actually really good, by the way. But maybe that's how the name came, Mars, Titan.
Of course.
But
Planets,
it's good.
Aldi's have got it going up there, aren't they? They're no daft.
Aldi are selling spaceships in the middle aisle. Know what I mean?
Get $9.99 get yourself some saucers. These fuckers fly.
You can, I bet you can buy a NASA authorised spacesuit in Aldi.
Easy.
At certain times of the year. But that's a moon that's got water.
That's right, Titan.
Aye, it's got water. So they say water's the big
source of life. Aye.
So is a planet defined by atmosphere? Is that right?
I'm pretty sure, a planet's called a planet because I think that's why they demoted Pluto to a planet because it was more like a star or something. It was something like that. If something can inhabit life or has the potential to, then
that's classed as a
Right.
planet then.
Right, okay.
Interestingly, what you're saying about science, but maybe doesn't know what it thinks it knows. Like Pluto get downsized into whatever it's called. There's a name for it because it's a smaller planet. But apparently, recently, since then, they've discovered another 3 or 4 of the size planets, like non-planets in the solar system.
Right.
They were there the whole time and they never noticed them.
I mean, put it this way: at one point, our planet decided that it was flat. You know what I mean? So it's just until they discovered that the next, we're never at the peak. We're always fucking. It's
Always
going to be.
learning. Yeah.
Well,
It's always going to be forever.
to be honest, I'm kind of still of that thinking.
What, the flat Earth?
Aye, I mean,
All my heart, I would love that we were in one of those, where what is it, the icebergs, that there's a whole wall around us, and like there's like people with guns in it keeping people. Fuck, I'd love that. That's amazing. And there's like dinosaurs over the other side. I love that shit.
Yeah. Nah, there's definitely no. Somebody told me a joke about flat Earth the other day. Some about social distancing when they work, because if we're all 2 meters apart, somebody would end up falling off the edge.
This is a very Tim Burton question.
Oh, Beetlejuice.
I think he did, yeah. Would you rather have a pumpkin for a head or knives for hands? And that goes to David first.
Fucking hell.
So, Nightmare Before Christmas or Edward Scissorhands?
Edward Scissorhands was quite a nice guy, quite a quiet. He turned out a sensitive, nice guy, and everybody was all scared of him. Aye, so a knives for hands for me, because then you could get yourself a lockdown haircut. Just like
see, Mike is that loud. I can hear your keyboard, and it sounds like you've got scissors for hands. To be fair,
but the new I'm not typing.
I know when you type, it's quite loud.
It's right next to my keyboard. Like,
I'm
really sorry to upset you, Spanks.
No, it's all right. I'm just making a wee joke. It's
Go
all
fuck
right.
yourself.
It's not a complaint. It's just a wee joke. Merv,
I think I would take Pumpkinhead. I think it would be quite cool if one with a big pumpkin.
wait, is it being cut out with the eyes and the mouth?
Well, you've got. I'd imagine it's probably
functions
like,
normally.
Pumpkin. It's got the sort of green bit at the top. That's your hair, and then it's got your eyes. But you don't have real eyes. It's actual like pumpkin eyes, like triangles.
But it works normal.
But I see it as being quite a positive pumpkin.
This is fucking nuts.
This is like a Black Mirror episode.
I would take that. Aye. Nice for hands if we struggling playing gigs and that.
He snaps some of the strings.
Aye. Slide would be good though.
Oh, imagine that. Oh, go and play a slide guitar with a knife nerf later. See how it goes.
Neil?
I'd have to agree. Since being a drummer, I think that would be pretty useless with having nicer hands. So I think I would go with a pumpkin head.
Some skin bill, that would be.
I think I agree as well. I think it would be pumpkin head.
I would say a bit of pumpkin head.
Just been fucking away.
Long about with your head in a pumpkin all your life, man.
You've got a bit of a pumpkin with your
You have though.
Oh no, I don't. What are you fucking about? Yes, what you saying? I've got a large head.
Not large, just like enclosed.
Wide.
Too wide.
It's large. It was the wide brain inside it. Flicking light switches 17 times so folk don't die.
Oh, shit.
Neil, Mystic Meg. Banger or something?
Banger. And she knows it, because she's already read my mind, and she knows exactly that I was about to say that. So she even knows she's a banger.
She knows she's on the fishy list.
What is she doing nowadays? What is Mystic Meg?
And if she looks the exact same, then I might say Saint, because
Well, I hope she's alive still.
if she looks the exact same, I'll change to Saint.
Let's check her Wikipedia. Doesn't it say if she's doing anything? No, she works for Coral TV. She's a bookmaker.
Is she?
What? How the fuck does that work? Okay, lads, stick all your money on the next favourite. That's a guaranteed winner. Mystic Meg says that's going to win, boys. Oh, wait now. What happened to Mystic Meg? The Daily Mirror. The Daily Mirror, lads. What happened to Mystic Meg? From £200,000 a year to saucy fiction, horse racing, and 7 cats. God bless the Mirror. She's now. Guess what age she is?
80
77. Mystic Meg's remembered by us. She used to shout, "Pick my balls."
She used to. Is that her catchphrase? No.
Pick my balls. Mystic.
She would say that, or somebody would say that to her.
It's in the Daily Mirror, mate. It's not exactly fucking science they're following here.
Alright.
Said a security guard caught him inches before he caught in front of a camera, painted on his back where the words "Pick my balls." That's class.
Anyone else want to talk about Mystic Meg?
Banger.
Aye, she's a banger.
Fuck me. Have you oh my god, she wears some awful jackets. Aye, banger.
Bye.
Move on, aye, banger.
She wears some awful jackets.
What a comment, Fitzroy.
Yeah, no, I just scroll by. She's wearing like a big toe-length purple velvet jacket, and if she's just like an old goth, isn't she?
Well, she is, aye.
Well, she's probably quite cool. She's probably quite into sort of the Cure and that.
Aye.
Just like, smoke a wee bit back in the day and that, you know what I mean? And she just stumbled into the whole
lady, know what I mean?
mystic.
Aye, she's got that kind of smokes a fag on the end of one of the plastic things about her. Kicks about. Aye, she's probably one of those S&M folk.
You think so?
Aye, with the plastic
I wonder
flag.
if she-
cubes and that.
Aye.
I wonder if she believes that she's mystic, or if she knows.
She
that
knows she's full of
not
shite,
mystic.
mate. She's sitting in her house going, I am full of shite, but look at all this money flowing through my letterbox. I just need to keep saying this stuff and everybody will keep sending me it. You fucking mugs.
Pass my balls.
Hit my balls. But there's nothing on her now. Like, nothing. I don't know
Nah.
what she's doing. Is
She's
she actually
wiping it with her
alive?
mind, aye. No, I know she's not dead, no.
Banger or Saint? Stephen King. Spanko.
Saint, I think. I don't read a lot of fucking books, but I know he's had a lot of movies made. I've never seen The Shining. I must admit, shamefully, I've never seen The Shining. But he's quite a prolific writer, isn't he?
He's a weird looking motherfucker as well.
But yeah, definitely Saint for Stephen King. Yeah, gotta be.
Merv.
I'll go banger. I don't really know much about him, but I feel as if I might have seen some of these sort of programmes based on his books and that. I don't really read any books either, so I don't really have any good reasons, but I'll say banger because it's not really my kind of thing. So I'm going to say he's an overrated
I'm going to
banger.
say he's a saint because some of his films are absolutely incredible, really good thrillers and stuff. What
Wait,
were you
he
name?
wrote the Shawshank Redemption.
Redemption?
Redemption.
The Shawshank Redemption.
He wrote the Shawshank Redemption. That's one of the
He
best
still
movies
can't
ever.
say it. Say it again.
He wrote the Shawshank Redemption. That's one of the best movies ever.
Aye. Neil.
I'd say banger. He's definitely on the fishy list for sure.
Ooh.
Not just from looking
Another
that way,
fishy.
but I mean,
Fishy,
for someone that
fishy.
can write that amount of horror, he's definitely. I mean, he's.
Yeah, he might
don't
be up
know.
to some stabbing himself.
I think he's definitely learned how to do a lot of things he's written about. So I think he's
Aye.
definitely a bit of a crazy.
I get what you mean with that. You need to be there to write it, kind of thing.
Yeah, you need to be in it to
win it.
absolutely.
Did he write Misery?
Possibly, probably.
Could be wrong. That's a horrible movie.
I don't know.
Have you
if I
seen
You wrote it, and that scared the shit out of me.
Oh, that's fucking terrible. The first one, this the second one's like Poltergeist. Just doesn't really transcend.
That of the newer, the actual films, the new stuff.
I think the first one, if you watch the first one, the now, even in like what age we are the now, I think the first one's scarier than the second one. Definitely.
Me and Laura watched a horror film ages ago called Gerald's Game. He wrote that as well. That's fucked up.
Never heard of that.
Oh, I see. I get a couple that go away to this like an Airbnb type place, and it's in the middle of nowhere, and they're doing like a mad sex game thing, and he ties her up to the bed, and then then he has a heart attack and dies in the middle of nowhere, and she's tied to the bed, and it's all sorts of, and then a fucking wolf comes in and starts eating and shit like that.
Fucking hell.
And like, it gets really weird as fuck, and she's trying to fucking cut her hands off and stuff, and then the wolf's trying to eat her and all that. It's fucked up.
That's
And
terrible.
she's hallucinating like fucking that as well.
Neil, you're right.
We
Okay.
yeah, we lock someone up for like stabbing somebody, right? And then like death sentence to someone that might do something about dirt. But see people like that make up those kind of
know.
things. Clearly, they need to get put down.
I think you're right, mate. I think you're right. Either he's gonna do something, he's done something, or he's gonna get somebody else to do something. Isn't he?
Or that's his way of venting it, so he doesn't do it. Maybe he's one of those, if he doesn't get it out there.
Maybe
then
it's researched. Maybe it's actually researched. I don't know.
Oh man.
What, true stories? Based
Well,
on
not
a true story?
or other people's ideas. They might be stealing them.
What was
do
the
you know
name
what I
of
mean?
that
Aye,
spice?
a lot of these things are
What Gerald's Game?
Aye, well, there's nothing new.
It's good. You'll
It's all
like it.
made.
It gets really fucking freaky
Exactly.
this morning.
Sigourney Weaver, Spanko.
Oh, Saint. She's a legend. Absolutely. Aliens, fucking class. So is Aliens 2. Aliens 3.
Aliens 4, Aliens 5, Aliens 6.
She's in that Mad Cabin in the Woods film, which is fucking insane. That movie, I really like that. Yeah, Sigourney Weaver's that. She's a legend. Saint, yeah.
Merv, Sigourney.
Aye, Saint. Ghostbusters 2, Ghostbusters 3.
The woman Ghostbusters. Any's watched the new Ghostbusters?
No, I
No,
can't
I see
buy
one.
it for some
Aye,
reason.
that
Because
was slated him,
shite.
he's good.
It's shite.
Oh, fuck off, you sexist bastard.
It's nothing to do with whether there's birds or not. It's just rubbish. It's just pish. I didn't like it.
It was great.
Each their own. Each their own.
Great. Neil, Sigourney.
I would say Saint as well. Aye, I like Sigourney.
She's the one that
Not
covered.
offensive in any way.
Aye, she isn't, and you know, she's just like a nice woman, isn't she? And she's a good actress.
Aye.
Is she the person that covered the Prince tune? Nothing compares to you.
No, that's Sigourney Weaver married the guy for Forfar, by the way. There's a wee
The guy
fact for
for
you.
Forfar? You'll know him then. Who was it?
I don't know.
Was it Bobby Bunton?
It's whoever her husband is.
What was it?
Shit, I thought this was going to be a joke.
What's the name of that island up your way? Bobby Bunton?
Barry Button. It's no an island. It's like a.
That's who she married though, Barry?
She married Bobby Button.
That's her husband.
Where's some Bobby Bunton tonight? Fuck you hell.
Oh.
What's the actual name of it? Barry Button?
Barry Budden. It's like a section of land
He's the
next to
guy from
Carnoustie that
Forfar.
the military have a base there, and you can't go in it, and that you can hear the guns going off during the day.
I bet you
Right.
can.
It's a training military training camp off the, and it's kind of got its own beach and that. You can't get in it. Aye, but it's called Barry
Maybe
Budden. No, not
Bobby Bunton.
Bobby Bunton. Let's have that. Bobby Bunton's what they decorate a fucking hen do with.
Thanks for that Bobby Bunton. Oh dear. Alice Cooper Spanks. Shag or marry.
He's a saint. He's a saint. He's my dad's hero. My dad fucking
Is he?
loves Alice
That
Cooper.
was Paul
yeah.
McCartney.
Nah, Alice Cooper. My dad always said Alice Cooper was his hero.
Why is that?
I don't know. He just loved him. Absolutely loves him. I think he's amazing.
I don't know anything about him, really.
Nah, a couple of good tunes in that.
What's his most famous tune?
Does he sing School's Out for Summer?
Yes.
Does he sing that?
Is that it? Aye, okay.
Poison as well.
How does that work?
You're poison, running through my brain.
I thought that was
It's been covered a few times, I
Def Leppard. That's my secret pleasure. I like a bit of Def Leppard and everybody
you?
hates them. Aye, I don't know why I like them, but I do a wee bit like them. Aye, everybody hates them.
think.
But
Alice
don't they?
Cooper. Alice Cooper seems like the nicest guy in rock and roll as well. Every time you hear an interview with him.
Aye, he seems down to earth and that, doesn't he?
Aye.
Neil, what about you, Alice Cooper? Do you like a bit of Alice or not?
I sort of grew up. Well, I grew up with him, but like he was always kind of played in around the school and all that and stuff. So it was same for me. I got nothing against them.
What about you, Murph?
I feel as if I'm getting drawn towards banger because I just don't like that sort of bringing like horror into rock, even though it isn't really that shock factor. But I'll say Saint because I think he is quite a genuine guy. I don't think
Fucking
he
hell,
takes
that was a
himself
bigger
serious
turnaround
with
than
that.
Hugh Evans, Murph. I think you're definitely going to go banger there with that.
I know, fuck. Last minute.
You're on a knife edge, though, aren't you? We're banging a Saint, you're totally on a knife
You
edge.
could ruin this guy's career with us here, Murph. You know what you're saying.
Well, mine.
I don't really know anything about Alice Cooper apart from years and years and years ago I was away on a caravan holiday with loads of family and somebody said, oh, that's Alice Cooper, and my brother Matthew said, oh, I fancy her, and everybody busted out laughing. But I think
It's a pretty weird name, eh?
everybody's
Alice.
got one of the Alice stories, I think, haven't they?
Well, thanks very much for listening, folks. That was you're a crazy
Thanks
one.
for listening.
Cheers.
Thanks for our guest.
The Invisible Man.
The Invisible Man. Thanks very much for listening to the Carbon Copy COVID Curer podcast. We'll be back soon with another ill-informed, chat-filled episode. Why not tell us what you think by email, inquiry@carboncopymusic.band, or visit our website, carboncopymusic.band. And if you're feeling really generous and you haven't already, please give us a like on our Facebook, facebook.com/carboncopy4, and even our Instagram, @carboncopyweddingband. Thanks again. No bangers were harmed during the making of this podcast. Carbon Copy reserve the right to moan about anything they like, and they will. Thank you.